Ritual Crime, a Pechakucha-style documentary by Dialah Roberts. The definition of a ritual is a set of fixed actions and sometimes words performed regularly, especially as part of an event or ceremony. Most people carry out rituals on a day-to-day basis, such as routines in daily life. For example, the process of getting up in the morning, having a shower and eating something for breakfast before setting off for the day. This is a naturally occurring part of life. Rituals can vary from a highly private occasion, such as sex with a partner, to a planned social event, to a well-publicized religious or other ceremony. The definition of crime is a legal activity. When rituals involve crime, they become deviant from society's norms. Although the words ritual and crime can be defined, defining the two together can prove difficult. Ritual crimes can range from a wide spectrum of activities or events, from a teenage gang initiation of shoplifting to darker crimes such as satanic rape and murder. This Pechakucha-style presentation will be exploring the notorious serial killer Luis Alfredo Garavito, using his crimes as an example of ritual crime. Serial killers are an easy way of showing what ritual crime can be, since many are repetitive with their crimes. The Pechakucha will be looking at Garavito in the form of a case study in order to gain an understanding. Luis Alfredo Garavito was born on the 25th of January 1957. Garavito was born and raised in Genova, Western Colombia. He was the eldest of 7 children, all boys, and suffered an unfortunate and troubled upbringing. Garavito claimed to have been abused physically, mentally, and sexually by his father and his father's friends from a young age. He attended school for a short time before leaving home and living as a drifter as soon as he came of age. Garavito claims that the abuse he suffered as a child caused him to become an alcoholic and suffer many psychiatric problems later on in life. His difficult and traumatic upbringing, if as true as he claims, could be a reflection of his crimes later on in life. Also known as La Bestia, meaning the beast, Garavito is responsible for the rape, torture and murder of over 200 young boys between the ages of 8 and 16. Garavito carried out his killing spree during the 1990s before his capture and arrest on the 22nd of April 1999. Media around the world would describe Garavito as being the world's worst serial killer. Garavito preyed on poor, often homeless children found living on the streets and in the countryside. He would dress up and disguise himself as different characters, such as a monk or a priest, in order to gain the confidence of his young, vulnerable victims. Garavito would talk to the young boys, give them gifts, and take them for a walk as a way of tiring them out. As soon as he had the boys alone, he would overpower them, rape them, and proceed to kill them. Often he would dismember and bury their bodies. It was on the 22nd of April 1999 that Luis Alfredo Garavito was finally captured. He was picked up by authorities after a homeless man had become suspicious of his behaviours towards a young boy. He was accused of attempting to sexually assault the boy by the man that had reported him. As soon as Garavito was taken into custody, he crumbled and admitted to his horrific crimes. Garavito confessed to the murders of over 200 young boys, and still to this day continues to confess to more. Garavito was only convicted of 138 of the 172 counts of murder that he was charged with. This was due to lack of evidence. Garavito was sentenced to 30 years in prison, this being the maximum number of years allowed in Colombia. However, due to his cooperation with police during investigations, his sentence was reduced to just 22 years. While in prison, Garavito drew maps leading to the mass graves of his victims. Garavito is set to be released in 2021, just 3 years away. He was denied early release back in 2011 despite good behaviour in prison. During his recent interview, Garavito claimed to be a changed man. Many people are against his release. Ritual crime can be defined in many forms. Serial killings such as the ones carried out by Luis Garavito are just one manifestation of this transgressive behaviour. By understanding that ritual and crime have separate meanings, we are able to put the two together as a way of understanding how and why some people begin to transgress in society. In the case of Garavito, he claimed he had suffered an abusive upbringing. He would have experienced abuse daily as a child, and it would have become a part of his early everyday life. It would have been his father's ritual. Being abused at such a young age would have affected Garavito's primary and some of his secondary stages of socialization. The abuse he received would have become his ritual also. It is well known that bullies become bullies and abusers become abusers. People pick up and pass on traits and behaviours. With the abuse he had suffered from his father, Garavito would have had the violent and abusive nature passed on to him. The ritual would have stayed a part of his later on in life. It would be the reason for his crimes against humanity and transgression against society. Louis Garavito used the same trick every time he went after a victim and committed his crimes. Because of the ritualistic behaviour, his repetitiveness began to leave a pattern and he was finally caught. Ritual crime happens every day all over the world, and cases such as the Garavito one barely scratch the surface of what hidden horrors may be going on. Only a small number of cases have come to light and been brought to justice. By understanding how people may become transgressive to begin with, ritualistic criminals are identifiable and can be punished for their crimes.